Right.
I can hear you, and you can clearly hear me if you need it. So I'm here and ready to assist if needed, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Gareth. We'll make a start, shall we? It's 9:30. Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Audit Committee meeting. Myself and Helen are here in person in St Asaph. Right, item number 1, apologies. Do we have any apologies, Lisa?
Yes, Councillor Arwyn Harold Roberts this morning.
Okay.
Can I sorry, my hand's up. I don't know if you can see me. Chrissy G.
Could you use your electronic hand? Is that possible?
Oh, I will in the future. It's just to say I have to leave for an appointment at 9:30, but I should be able to get back within an hour.
Thank you for that, Councillor G. It's just that if you don't put your hand up, we can't see you on screen because we've only got limited numbers on screen here.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right, cheers. Thank you. Has anybody else got any apologies or anything? No. Okay, so we'll move to the next item, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest to do with any matters on the agenda today? No, I can't see any hands up here. Okay, moving on. Notice of urgent matters. I haven't received anything urgent today, but if you do know anything, please bring it up as soon as it comes of it. Notice. Item 4, minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of December. Seems like that long time ago. Okay, I will do them page by page, and if anybody has anything, please put your hand up. So I've got item 2. Right. Congratulations to Tina. She was appointed Deputy Chair. I'm sure she can't wait to fill my post. National Audit. We've got item 7. I'm just checking for accuracy. So 7.2, it says 2 years' time. Is that still the case? The exercise will be the case. Yep.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Can we have a proposal those minutes are accurate from the last meeting? Okay, I've got Anne and I've got Tina. Thank you very much. Okay, matters arising. Are there any matters arising from those minutes?
Chair, if I just might make one comment under item 9. The budget subsequently went through to the Fire Authority and was approved, and since that time we've communicated the levy to all of the constituent local authorities.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, I don't think there's anything in there that's not being brought up later. Okay, had a vote. Okay, does everybody approve that those are a true and accurate record? Okay, thank you. The committee's got their hands up, bit of a test. Okay, I presume that's Gareth and John Brimore have got their hands up to approve it and not to ask questions. Is that correct? I think it automatically, if you put your hand up, it automatically puts the thumbs up, the hand up on Teams now. Okay, right, moving on. So the first. Oh, sorry, who was that?
Can I just pop in? Apologies for being late, and I'm going to have to leave at 10:30. Unfortunately, to go to. So I do apologise, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Barry Jones. That's lovely to note. Okay, and next on the list, the first substantive item is the number 5, Audit North Wales Fire and Rescue Assessment of Performance 24-25. Have I got Anne Harrad on the call?
I think this one is either Mike Plant or Ant Jones.
Yes, I'll be presenting this, Chair, with your permission.
Okay, absolutely. Carry on.
Yeah, thank you. Pav. Good morning, everybody. The purpose of this report is to confirm to members the outcome of the external audit of the authority's assessment of performance for the year 2024 to 2025, and that's a requirement under the Local Government Wales Measure 2009. That measure requires the authority to publish its annual assessment before the 31st of October in the financial year following that. your annual performance assessment was presented to yourselves at your meeting on the 20th of October 2025. And under that measure, the authority is required to annually publish its assessment in how it is discharging its duty, to make arrangements to secure continuous improvement, in meeting the improvement objectives that it set itself, by referencing the performance indicators specified by Welsh ministers, and in meeting any performance standards specified by Welsh ministers and self-imposed performance standards. So members will recall that we also receive a certificate of compliance from Audit Wales each year, which confirms that we've set our wellbeing objectives in line with the measure. And this is now a look back at the year 24-25 to say that did we meet those objectives that we set ourselves. And you will see as Appendix 1 the audit opinion from Audit Wales that concludes that they've completed their work and they are satisfied that the authority has discharged its responsibilities. So members are asked to note the audit letter which confirms that the authority has discharged its responsibilities under the Local Government Wales Measure 2009. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding this item? No, deadly silence. I presume people are warming up this morning. Okay. Right, no, I haven't got any questions. Obviously, this is taking from some time back for 24-25, and this is only the result of them coming back to us in December. So
yes, it's a process we're very, very familiar with. We set our wellbeing objectives as part of our community risk management implementation planning. They assess that we've set those objectives, and then we look back each year at the performance, how we've delivered against those objectives. So yes, this is a very much a business as usual process for us twice a year.
okay, well, if there's no questions on that, I will go to the recommendations. Note the audit letter, which confirms that the authority has discharged its responsibilities under the Local Government Wales Measure 2009. Can I have a proposer for that? Yes, Councillor Gareth Jones. And a seconder? Councillor Brimble, John Brimble, thank you. All in favour of receiving that, put your hand up. There we go. I can see hands up, that's always a good start. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next item, which is the annual audit summary audit Wales 2025 for assurance. So who have we got presenting that? Have we got anybody from the Welsh Audit Office online?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Timothy. If you want to carry on.
Thanks. Yes, no problem. I think this is probably just worth pointing out that this is nothing new for the committee. It's a summary of our findings over the previous audit year. So it covers at a quite high level the findings from our performance audit work and our financial audit work. So there's nothing new in there that the committee won't hopefully have seen before. Nothing I think that jumps off the page in terms of significant concerns. As it states, the wellbeing objective set in work found that the sustainable development principle had been applied, and some relatively positive feedback as well in terms of the targeted prevention work. So I wasn't intending to go through any great detail, but as I say, it repeats previous work largely, but I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions? Helen, if you want.
Tim, just really mindful that last week we received a letter from the Auditor General just confirming really that we had provided our accounts on time, against a very difficult backdrop, I think, for the public sector and yourselves as auditors. I think it's to give assurance to the Audit Committee that we will continue to strive to meet the statutory deadlines, and more importantly, work the local audit team to agree the working papers that we provide and a mechanism for resolving any audit queries. So it only feels as if 2 minutes since we completed the last audit, but we're busy preparing for the next set of accounts and audit. But as an organisation, we're on target for that.
Okay, if I can just add, it's got the audit plan was actually dated on June 2024. So that's nearly 2 years ago. when will we be producing a new plan for that? Is it refreshed every so many years?
The Audit Wales audit plan, or
The audit, but yeah.
Yeah, the Audit Wales audit plan. So it's annually actually. So there would be another audit plan. I believe probably your next meeting actually.
Okay, for 2026 then.
But to cover the 2025-26 accounts and the 2026-27 performance audit work.
it also almost works 1 year in arrears, so it is a little, for accountants that work in 3 separate financial years, it does get very, very confusing.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Okay, are there anybody with questions on that? No thumbs up, no hands up. Okay, can I move to the performance audit findings then? The continuous improvement under that. What's our plans within the authority for continuous improvement? Can officers verify that we've got a culture of constant verification and continuous improvement, and it's not always business as usual?
Very much so. I think a number of areas really. First and foremost, when we have audits, whether they be internal audit or external audit, we have an internal mechanism to pick up the recommendations and move those forwards. Internally within the organisation, we have the service leadership team, we have our internal governance, and we have individual committees that feed into the service leadership team. So interestingly, as part of the future governance arrangements, we will have to be really mindful of effectiveness and efficiency. So it's a very relevant question, and it's something that will be progressing internally.
Okay. Can't see any hands up, so I'll go to my next question. Under setting of wellbeing objectives, it's mentioned at the bottom of the page, it says monitors the achievements of its objectives. Have all these been addressed and implemented as yet? The wellbeing objectives.
I'm probably going to look to my colleague Ant, because I think that probably falls within the CRMP.
Apologies, I was just finding turning the microphone off on, rather. Yeah, so as with the previous item, we set our wellbeing objectives as part of our annual community risk management implementation process. Members this afternoon at executive panel will be receiving our draft community risk management implementation plan for 26-27. We are currently in our planning cycle of 25-26, where we're delivering against the objectives we set ourselves sort of this time last year, and we will be then delivering that assessment of a performance later this year that sort of confirms that we've completed the wellbeing objectives we set ourselves, if that makes sense, for 25-26. We're right in the middle of delivering those objectives now.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, right. Thanks.
I understand that Gareth Owens has his hand up.
Yes, Chair, thank you. Chair, it was on the previous item, actually. I think might have not spotted the hand. Were you talking about continuous improvement? Members could also see evidence of the continuous improvement in the plans and issues that we bring before you as councillors. So, for example, probably the biggest, one of the biggest examples of that would be the new training centre. You know, that desire to improve the facilities and the training facilities, and then with that, the host of other issues as well. We've had conversations, if we not, Chair, about the need for improving protection and equipment for dealing with wildfires. So, as well as the assurances given by the ACFO, you can see that with your, from your own experience.
Okay, thank you for that additional information, Gareth. Okay, I've moved to my, David, if you want to come in.
Yeah, diolch, Cadeirydd.
Thank you, Chair. Is the interpretation working?
Loud and clear.
I'd just like to reiterate what was mentioned at the beginning. officers of the authority have done some sterling work in closing the accounts successfully, and we are grateful to Audit Wales for auditing the accounts and for signing everything off. And we hope to continue to do this in future with the usual cooperation of the auditors. So this is just an annual summary report, but I did notice Aidan Crompton's words at the beginning. Having read in the press, I think they... Apologies, is it possible for everyone to be on mute? The interpreter's struggling to hear the speaker. If everyone can kindly press mute. Apologies.
Did you get that, Tim?
Sorry, I didn't get the last bit there, David.
Yeah, apologies from the interpreter.
Recent articles in the press that Adrian Crompton's already started his farewell speeches as Auditor General. I'm wondering what the timescale for appointment of his replacement is.
I believe it's public knowledge that his replacement. I believe the next stage is confirmation by the King, and then that will then confirm the process. I understand so the timescale will be July, I think.
Okay, thank you.
There you go, David. Get your CV ready. Okay. Has anybody else got any questions? Is that a legacy hand, David? Okay, well, I've got one, I think, final question, and it's under the performance audit work that's still underway. Is this a live document, and will the process, such as monthly reports to SLT, be carried out, or is being carried out?
There we go. I think in respect of this, the work outstanding at the year end related to the financial sustainability work, which we will be picking up under item 6A. There are a number of recommendations within that, and we've fully acknowledged recommendations and we'll be taking those forward.
Okay, great. Okay. Anybody else got any questions, comments, concerns? No. No, I can't see any hands up here. Okay, so I'm just moving on to the, I think, are there any recommendations we adapt? No. Okay, so just to note that and receive it well. Okay, thank you for that, Gwyndor. Okay, and okay, can I have a proposal that we accept that? Okay, Tina's got a hand up first. Thank you for that, and Gareth is seconded it. All in favour of receiving that? Okay, I can see hands up. It's definitely working. Electronic and manual. Thank you ever so much for that. Moving on to item. Are we doing all the different items of 6 then?
I think item 6.1, we can pick that up.
6.1 then. Okay.
I'm not sure if Tim is presenting that.
Tim, are you doing that?
Yeah, I can say a few words, Chair, if that's okay. Yeah. So this was, as just mentioned, this was our look at financial sustainability in the authority. Just a few words in terms of context. So we've looked at a similar topic across councils. We've also looked at similar work across other bodies, so in the cultural sector, in national parks and so on. So just to give a bit of context overall, and we set out in the report why we think the issue is important. Hopefully explain that in some detail there in terms of not just the current situation, but still I think the aftermath from the pandemic and various financial challenges facing the public sector. So what we looked at was specifically the arrangements the authority has in place to support its financial sustainability. So the report explains it wasn't a general look at financial management, for example. It was very much focused on that aspect of it. overall, then on page 5, I won't go through the report line by line, obviously, but on page 5, you can see our overall finding, which talks about the authority's relatively stable financial position and how the approach has supported that. And I suppose the key focus for the recommendations is around crystallising and formalising arrangements around medium-term planning and how that might look. In the report, obviously, we recognise the fact work's ongoing around this area, but some of the recommendations are more around crystallising some of that and setting that out. So, as I say, we made recommendations, 3 recommendations, one of which was to keep financial strategies up to date and to extend those a bit further into the future. The second recommendation was about reporting to members, and what we're basically saying in the report is, whilst the financial reporting is there in terms of the budgets, overspends, underspends, etc., it's about explaining what that means for things like delivery of the wellbeing objectives and some of the questions already posed by the committee earlier in terms of performance and impact on statutory duties and so on. And then the final recommendation, which was a fairly specific one, was around clarifying which committee has responsibility for financial oversight financial oversight, financial planning. And as you'll see in the report, the Constitution sets this out, but I think our observation was in practice, it's not always clear how that role is performed. So those were the 3 main areas. Obviously, happy to take any questions on the report, and I'm sure the officers would like to comment on the response to that. And you can see, obviously, the management response form in the pack as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think I've asked a few questions already. I was going to move to the next item, the management response, if there aren't anybody with their hands up. No? Okay, so I'll move to the next item, which is the management response. Helen.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to pick that up. Firstly, thank you to Audit Wales for their work. And I know this is a national piece of work that you've undertaken across the sector. I think we've accepted the recommendations, in particular the need to develop those strategies, and they're definitely on the agenda for this afternoon. And also linking the budget variances to our objectives. I think the third recommendation aligns very nicely to the change of governance for ourselves, and it's something that we'll definitely take forward over the forthcoming 12 months to ensure that any future governance has that clarity about the roles and responsibilities of the Audit Committee and the Executive Panel. To give assurance to members, we will be progressing one of these recommendations and working with Audit Wales to ensure a satisfactory outcome.
Okay, so I look forward to receiving that in the next meeting then, an update. Okay, any more questions, comments, concerns regarding that? No? Okay, can we just all agree that we've noted the management response and the items which were identified in that? Okay, thank you very much. John Brynmore and Gareth is proposing and seconded. All in favour? Yeah, I think the committee accept that. Thank you very much. Okay, is that everything from item 6?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item 7, which is the internal audit progress report for 25-26 for insurance. Do we have anybody from MIAA here on the call? And Harad, are you there? No.
Oh, that's very unusual.
Okay, that's okay because there are a few items there.
Chair,
will you be covering or?
With your agreement, would you mind awfully if we progress to the treasury management and the strategies, then I'll try and link with Harad to see if she can join.
Okay, so we'll move to the item 8, which is David, Treasury Management Update 25-26 for the assurance.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. I had some trouble while the translator couldn't hear me in Welsh earlier. I'm going to try again. If the translator or someone could shout if it doesn't come through.
It seems to be clearer now. Sorry, this is the interpreter speaking. So, Treasury Management, can you hear me through the interpreter? This is the usual report presented to you. Beginning at paragraph 1, we say that we are providing the latest information regarding the Treasury activity up until December 2025. Paragraph 4, we note that the relevant strategy for 2025-26 was authorised back in April 2025. Is that coming through, Helen? Okay, I'll proceed. And during the year, paragraph 5 provides you with a summary, very succinctly really. All you really need to know in paragraph 5 is that during the year, the borrowing and investment levels for the authority lay comfortably within the limits that you originally set, and there were no defaults by banks in which the authority has deposited money. The recommendation is clear in paragraph 6. You need only note the Treasury management activities and prudential indicators for the period. I'll take you through a couple of highlights. Paragraph 7 mentions CPI. CPI came down to some 3% in January, and it's still above the Bank of England target of 2%. And looking into the future, heaven only knows where we'll be. It's difficult to predict how fuel and energy prices will change as a result of the Iran war. Inflation will change. So I will elaborate a little on the authority, paragraph 13. It talks about our borrowings, and there are more long-term borrowings and fewer long-term borrowings, down to some 3 million. This takes advantage of the low interest rates. And we have a summary of those borrowings in table 3 and below paragraph 19, and you'll see that all the current borrowings with the Public Works Loans Board. I will move on to paragraph 23. During the 9 months, the investment balances of the authority varied from 1 million to almost 14 million, and of course, the current balance lies at around 2 million. And at this time of year, before the grants for the new grants come in, well, this is the natural pattern of the cash flow. And as I mentioned, in 27, all the Treasury management activities during the year are compliant with the principles within the code and the strategy that you set. There are short-term deposits, bank deposits. They are with Lloyds and Barclays that are considered to be safe. And also we use the DMO, the Debt Management Office, which is a safe haven, if you like, when we require money quickly. So are there any questions at this juncture? The details from paragraph 20. Of course, I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, David. Thank you for going through that so diligently. I've got a question first regarding our borrowing rate. You know, interest rates are dropping. We'll be aiming to reduce this in line with the interest rate cut. Is that down to Arling Close, and how quickly do they react?
Yeah, well, the day-to-day is managed by Elgan and the team in association with Arling Close. The borrowing rates have been coming down and down, but the market factors in an expected rise in interest rates over the period. So while interest rates have been going down, they were expected to go down again in March. That's now open to question. So it's probably been a good idea to get in some long-term borrowing over this period before interest rates probably go up again. It was always anticipated that rates would go up, the long-term borrowing, by the end of the summer. So we've had some quite astute advice and moved early. Where it's actually going to go is a very difficult thing to predict at this point in time, Chair, because of the war in Iran and what's happening with fuel. Trump tells us the fuel prices are going down. I'm not sure if that's correct at the moment, but that will inevitably have an effect on the cost of borrowing.
Okay, thank you. Elgin, do you want to come in there?
Just to answer that as well. Over the last 12 months, we have been taking out longer term loans. Our loan book 12 months ago was very short term based. And then with the advice with Alan Close, our treasury advisor, we've been taking loans out over 10 years. And then the advice we recently have now with Alan Close, due to the interest rate fluctuation, is to short term borrow, and then when the opportunity presents itself is to go long term again. But from a loan book perspective, we're in quite a stable position now.
Thank you for that. Gareth, you've got your hand up. Is it asking the same question?
Yeah, it was only a quickie, really. Obviously, with the uncertainty around at the moment, it's good to see that we've got, the majority of the book is there with long-term debt. Just wanted to double check. Are the interest rates set for the terms of the loans, or are they set for 5-year tranches? The loans are agreed over a longer period, but the interest rates are set for shorter periods?
I think they're all the term of the loan, but Elgan can confirm.
Yeah, all the loans we take out, it's a fixed interest rate. So we know what we go into when we take the loan out.
Yeah, which is good news considering where we are at the moment, isn't it? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on. I've got a question regarding the authority. The authority took a 5 million short-term loan, item 20 on the list. How are members informed of these loans, and what is the protocols in place for consultation?
Thank you very much. I'm happy to pick that up. Each year, the Audit Committee and the Fire Authority agree the financial strategies, whether it be the capital strategy, the treasury management, and then we as officers operate within those delegated limits and report back retrospectively via this committee.
Okay, thank you for that assurance. Okay, are there any more questions from the committee? Can't see any hands up. Okay, so I will go to the recommendations that we've noted this report. And do I have a proposer for this? Yes, Gareth, and yes, John Brimore Hughes. All in favour? There we go. Thank you ever so much.
Yeah, before I finish, perhaps I could just say I'm sure we all welcome Councillor John Brimore Hughes back after his period of illness. So good to see him on the screen again.
Absolutely, and his hand is going up, so we know he's quite well and fit. Thank you very much. Okay, so where are we going from here? I see Anne Harrod's joined us. Welcome this morning, Anne Harrod.
Can we finish items 7, 8 and 9 as a collective and then perhaps revert back to internal audit if that's
okay, yes, we can go on. So where are we up to now? Item 9, financial strategies and statements for 26-27 for assurance.
That's me, Bardar. So today I'll be presenting our financial strategies for 26-27. These include the capital strategy, the treasury management strategy, and the minimum revenue provision statement. These documents set out the framework for how we plan and fund long-term investments, how we ensure we repay debt in a controlled and sustainable way. I won't go through the report line by line, but I'll draw members' attentions to a couple of key points within each document. Firstly, within the capital strategy, our capital investment plans remains affordable and aligned to the authority's long-term priorities. We're planning just under £9 million worth of capital expenditure next year, covering core building improvements, fleet, ICT, decarbonisation work. Work on hub bowing continues at the enabling stage, with funding for the construction phase to be secured. All planned capital activity is supported by balanced financing plans, so that can be a use of revenue contribution, external grants, and debts. The resulting increase in our capital finance requirements has already been accounted for within our 26-27 budget. Turning to the Treasury Management Paper, I'm pleased to confirm that the authority remains fully compliant with CIPFA Prudential Code and the Welsh Government Investment Guide. Borrowing levels sit within both the operational boundary and the authorised limits approved by members, and our approach continues to prioritise low risk, cost-effective borrowing supported by careful cash flow management. On investments, the authority holds only small short-term balances, and our focus remains firmly with security and liquidity. And then finally, onto the minimum revenue provision statement. This sets out the method by which we repay debt over the useful life of the assets we invest in. This remains prudent, compliant, and consistent with Welsh Government's guidance, and the MRP charge for next year is around 2.2 million, which is already approved for within the budget. Before I conclude, and is picking up on tail end of David's reports, I just ask members remain mindful that the external economic environment continues to shift, particularly around interest rates and inflation. These factors are monitored closely with our advisors, and if any changes materially affects the strategy, we'll bring a revised version back to members. So together, these strategies provide assurance that the authority's financial planning, borrowing and investment arrangements remains compliant and sustainable. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you for that, Elgin. Are there any questions? No. No. Okay. Shall we move to the recommendations? To note that report, thank you ever so much. And is the committee in approval? I propose it. Yes, Gareth, and yes, Ian, you're straight to it. There was all in favour. Yes, thank you very much for that. Okay, moving on. Helen's doing our next report, which is the medium-term resources strategy 25 to 30 for assurance.
Thank you very much, Chair. This is the second paper that provides a strategic update. It's our financial framework that supports the delivery of our community risk management plan. The paper today is to provide you with that financial outlook over the medium term and aligns with the recommendations from Audit Wales. In addition, it sets out the key pressures we're facing, the assumptions that we're using, and there'll be assumptions around things like inflation and pay awards, and the plans that we're using for the future. This actually forms one of our key governance arrangements and supports our yearly robust budget setting, ultimately our financial resilience and our ability to be sustainable in the long term. It's quite a detailed report, and there are a number of areas that I'd like members to consider. The first area is that the authority remains in a sustainable financial position. And I think I'll reference you back to the previous Audit Wales report that referenced that we were relatively financially stable. Inflation, pay uncertainties, state pressures, and the future of the emergency service network all present significant challenges, but we've balanced these through planned efficiencies, careful management of our reserves, and also a strong approach to our internal financial management. Second thing I'd like to raise with members is that the strategy confirms the indicative financial envelope for the next 4 years. And that's really important to us. So it's how we ensure that we've got sufficient resources to deliver our community risk management plan. You'll see from the tables that capital expenditure peaks in 2027-28 and again in 28-29 as Hub Owen, which is our training centre, progresses. Please note that the current assumption is that we will receive financial support for this. All borrowing interest rates and the minimum revenue provision are fully reflected in our medium-term plan. Third item that I'd like to highlight with members is the use of reserves. They do our reserves currently provide us with a good level of resilience, and at the end of March 26, we anticipate that our usable reserves will be in the order of 11.5 million. They will reduce gradually as planned, but the general fund reserve will remain at a prudent level, providing us assurance that the authority can absorb short-term volatility And we've spoken today about that volatility, whether it be from demand arising from wildfires, spate conditions, flooding, or indeed interest rate shocks, or indeed oil prices. What I would like to provide is assurance to members that the estimates that we've included within this strategy have been prepared on a robust and prudent basis. I think it's really important that we acknowledge the work that's undertaken, but also the risks and uncertainties that lie ahead. In the very short term, that is for 2026-27, we are facing those challenges from increased oil prices, interest rate uncertainty, but also that the national pay awards haven't yet been agreed. Members will also be aware that we're seeking financial support for our training centre, Hub Allen, and should this not be possible, then it's important that we revisit the medium-term financial strategy and look at other funding options. The Emergency Service Network, which is a national network across all of the emergency services, is due to be replaced in 2028-29, and that does represent a medium-term financial exposure to us. There's a lot of uncertainty. Currently, you'll be aware of previous legal challenges in relation to the existing network, and there is a lot of momentum across the sectors to ensure that this comes to fruition. There will, however, inevitably be a period of dual running. We are seeking any additional funding that we can on a national basis for that, but at the moment it remains a key risk. In summary, the strategy provides members with a clear, balanced view of the authority's financial position over the medium term, and I hope provides confidence that we can continue to deliver our statutory responsibilities and the CRMP commitments that we've made. Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to take any queries.
Okay. Yes, I will start. It's regarding the pay awards and where we're up to with that and how certain we are that our forecasts will be met.
Thank you very much. To remind members, we have a figure of 4% within our budget setting for pay awards. Nationally, we're conditioned to four main books. So a grey book for all of our firefighters and colleagues working in control. We've got green book for our colleagues in corporate services, gold, and blue for the service leadership team. What I can say is that none of those pay awards have yet been agreed. I certainly was at the LGA conference last year, and there is a really good working relationship between the rep bodies, the FBU, and the employer's side about pay modernisation. But I think those short-term pressures, and certainly what we've experienced over the last 2 weeks with the Middle Eastern conflict, I think is going to put further pressures on pay awards. Should they settle above the budget of 4%, in the short term, we'll seek to make internal savings. Should it be necessary, then we would have to seek approval from the Fire Authority to use the General Fund Reserve. And I would hope at this stage to avoid any supplementary levy.
Okay, do you know an estimated time when that's?
Sadly, we're not aware of any movement and any progress in that respect.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, are there any more questions? Okay, thank you, Gwynfor. Have a good day. And I think there are no more questions. Thank you for going through that, Helen. If we can all note, if we can have a proposed for that report, please. Yes, Gareth. Yes, John Brimble, thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, so moving forward, or backwards, should I say? Yes, absolutely. We have had Anne Harrad join us, so we'll go to item 7. Oh, sorry, Anne, you've got your hand up. Thank you. Is that a legacy hand, Anne? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I was a bit slow lowering the hand, Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, going forward, item 7, or going backwards, should I say, Internal Audit Progress Report 25-26 for insurance. We've got Anne Harrad from the Mersey Internal Audit Agency.
Morning, everybody. Sorry, I've had some technical issues this morning. My laptop's playing up, so apologies I'm late. So this is the progress report. Diolch yn fawr iawn. This progress report covers the work undertaken between the 1st of December 25 to the 28th of February 26. Since last audit committee, we have undertaken the key financial controls review, which has resulted in a substantial level of assurance. Overall, we found that there was a good system of internal control in place designed to meet the system's objectives, and that controls were generally being applied consistently. We've also attended and provided support to the budget scrutiny meetings. In terms of work in progress to complete the plan for the year, the risk management core controls review is in field work, and our follow-up report is in the process of being completed, and the report will be provided at the next audit committee in June. There are no current proposals to change the audit plan at this stage, and the progress report also includes details of our latest briefings and upcoming events. So I'm happy to take any questions on the document. Mwy na hapus I cymryd unrhyw cwestiynau a diolch yn fawr.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions, not necessarily for yourself, but it's how our organisation have received this report. So our committee are the eyes and ears of this report, and honestly, and this is an honest and upfront report, it does bear in mind a lot of dependency on the Tech One software. Now, Tech One is very, it's not a bespoke piece of software, it's fair to say. How reliant are we when we're talking about employees dealing with it, and how are we learning to continually be flexible with the amount of people who have knowledge of Tech One, and also their continuous professional development, the financial packages? Thank you.
I'll take this one. In terms of Technology One, so it's our software we use predominantly for our financial ledger, but then it can be intertwined with tracking assets on there, and also how we manage our stock and stores processes and systems as well. So it's a key financial system for us. In terms of how do we train staff on it, so we've got consultancy hours from Tech One that we get a certain amount allocation per month for system improvements, but also for training as well. In terms of wider budget holders and stakeholders across North Wales Fire and Rescue Service, the finance team are sort of the knowledge holders, and they will provide training sessions to people across the organisation. In terms of resilience of the software and the system, it's a cloud-based system, and there are contingencies and processes in place if the system did go down. But touch wood, so far since I've been here, it's been a very reliable software.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more questions, comments on this report? No, I've just got a subsequent question. It makes bearings on AI in the report, adding value to our future processes and that. How is AI helping us, artificial intelligence helping us at North Wales Fire and Rescue, particularly in the audit and financial aspect? Yes, Elgin.
I'll come back on that. It's we've got at the minute a fine balance between managing cost of implementing these systems and the efficiencies they provide. For example, within Tech One, they have introduced an AI function that can support users with Tech One. At the minute, we've not adopted this due to the upfront cost of it, but it might be something that we look forward towards in the future. In terms of other softwares and other ways of working, we do work quite closely with colleagues in ICT and across other departments of how we can improve our systems and processes, whether that is using automation or AI.
Okay, thank you for that. There is a note on Appendix A. It's got the attendance of budget scrutiny meetings, and I just want to make an appeal to everybody on the call that everybody is welcome to attend budget scrutiny meetings, and it is an important process that we will be starting again shortly. We haven't in the last few months because obviously the budget has been set, but we will be starting it shortly, and we would recommend everybody attends to let them know what the detail is of the financials there. So are there any more questions regarding this? No, don't see any more hands up. Okay, I will go to the proposal that we accept this report then. Okay, I have a proposer, we accept. Gareth, you're quickest with the hand this morning. And then I've got Councillor Ian Hodge there. Thank you very much. All in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Right. And we've got the next MIAA is the internal audit plan for 26-27 looking forward. Anne Harrod.
Diolch. So yes, this is the proposed draft internal audit plan for next year. We have undertaken a detailed risk assessment which considered the local and national risks, if you like, and we have also engaged members of the senior leadership team. I would just like to signpost you to page 5 of the document, which sets out what we propose to look at as part of the 26-27 plan. And these have all got a rationale as to why they have been included in the plan following our risk assessment. Appendix A sets out the 3-year strategic internal audit plan, and an extract of the plan has been provided today for the Audit Committee for translation purposes, but the full copy can be made available. And we are looking for approval for the plan today, please, so we can make a start in April. We're happy to cymryd unrhyw question. Diolch.
Thank you for that. Okay, are there any comments or questions regarding the forthcoming audit plan? Everybody's very quiet today. I presume it's because it's Monday morning, warming up for the rest of the week. Yes, John Brimore Hughes.
Yes, under the current situation worldwide, I think I wouldn't like to take on what you have to do, and I wish you luck with that.
No, diolch.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions, Helen?
Yeah, I just wonder if I can comment on it really. I think looking at the strategic internal audit plan, which covers 2026-27, it includes work around the recruitment and promotion process. And to give assurance to members, this was a key feature of our Quest report, where people felt that there wasn't trust and confidence in that, and it might have had a number of areas of weakness. We've done an incredible amount of work within the service to look at this, and I would welcome oversight and scrutiny by internal audit in that respect. I think in terms of the partnerships and collaboration, again, as part of our wellbeing assessment, it's making sure that where we can, we do work with other public sector partners and third sector. So definitely 2 additional audits that are very relevant to us. And lastly, we've spoken about AI governance, and that's on the audit plan for next year, which again is to be welcomed.
Okay, thank you for that. Any more questions, comments? David? No.
No, I'm happy to accept the plan, Chair.
Okay. Right. I'll take that as a proposal then, David.
I'm not sure I'm authorised to propose, but...
oh, you're not authorised. Right, okay. We'll need a member to propose that then. Okay, do we have any proposals then? John Brimore Hughes, you were the first off the list today. Congratulations. And a seconder, Tina Claydon. Thank you very much. All in favour? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Committee approved. Thank you for that, Anne Harrod. And I think that's everything from MIAA.
We've got the very last one, which is the global...
Oh, of course. How could I have missed that? Yeah,
it's okay.
EQA approach for information.
Yeah, so this is just for your information, really. So we had the last external quality assessment completed in 2021, which feels like a long time ago. And therefore, we're required to commission a further one this year to meet the 5-year requirement outlined in the Global Internal Audit Standards. So this is just to provide assurance, really, of the service we provide to yourselves, and that a final report will be provided in due course. So it's just for information today. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think we all accept that.
I think we now know the answer to who audits the auditors.
Absolutely. Who audits the auditors? Indeed. So if there's no business, has anybody got anything to add before I close the meeting? No? All right. Thank you very much for everybody to attend this morning, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr, Hwyl.